In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we discuss the issues that are plaguing the underserved and marginalized communities and how we can best serve them. Bless me. My name is Charles King, and I'm your host tonight. Tonight, we have a very special show for you. We've got Mr. Jamal Simpkins here with us tonight. Jamal is a 25-year-old African-American man from Statesboro, Georgia. He's the youngest of 13 kids and have been in real estate for almost a year. He attended college at Americas at a small college called Georgia Southwestern State University. He played baseball and basketball all his life and enjoyed coaching and assisting others in his free time. He's also acted, modeled, bartended, and numerous other tasks throughout his career. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you all to Mr. Jamal Simpkins.
Hey,
Welcome
everybody.
to the show, sir.
Hey, how are we doing, guys?
I'm doing just excellent. How are you?
I'm good. I see we got the red member for today.
Yes, sir. Hey, so is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we get into the show?
Now you really kind of hit everything too. Nice little summary.
Okay. Well, let's just hop right in then, and we're gonna start with your real estate career. Tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in real estate.
Okay, well, yeah. So with me being kind of the youngest of 13, all my siblings when I was born were really kind of already establishing what they wanted to do in life. One of my oldest brother actually had a construction company. So at a small age, I was always sent off to go with my brothers and do stuff with them on the side to make a little bit of extra money. And I would always see like the different work they would do in different properties. And I thought it was very cool. And my main thing is I always wanted to be on the other side of putting people inside of those properties after they've done it. So I kind of took a passion for it at like a very early age, around 12. Always constantly doing the work with my brother. I was like, all right, I don't want to keep doing the labor. I want to sell the house. It kind of started me off younger.
Right. So I mean, so as a young man though, I mean, because you're like, what did you say? You're 25.
Yeah, I'm 25. I'll be 26 this year in August.
Okay, so at 25, I mean, tell us, when did you actually decide? I know that you said you used to do work with your brother and so forth, but I mean, how did you decide that this was your career path?
Oh, well, yeah. So, actually, I went through like a traumatic thing with losing my mom in my junior year of high school. I was already applying for colleges, kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And at the time, I kind of just took like a full circle layover and looking at life and kind of seeing where I wanted to be and how I could help my family and kind of keep us together going forward. So I actually wrote out like a 10-year plan back then, and that was 8 years ago now. But I kind of wrote out what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to go to college, get my marketing degree, kind of learn as much as I possibly can about being in the business aspect, which is why I graduated with my business marketing degree, and just networking, knowing you got to build relationships. And I kind of wrote out the whole game plan that same night that I decided I kind of wanted to just take it full force. And each year I've been enacting more and more things in my head psychologically. And then now it's kind of getting crunch time because it's like, all right, it's 2 to 3 years left in that 10-year plan. So I kind of had to start shifting everything. So about 5 years ago, I really honed in on it. My senior year of college, I really started networking. My advisor, she was a realtor too at the college that I was at. So it was just surrounding myself with people who had already had experience in it and really just honing into something and actually putting forth the effort to it.
So I want just one other follow up question to this is because, I mean, so let's go back to your being in Statesboro, Georgia. So for those that's not familiar with Statesboro, Georgia, that's like middle to South Georgia, and I know Georgia Southern University is there. So can
Yeah.
you imagine and tell us, like, how did it come? I mean, like, did you see anybody looking like yourself that was doing real estate that would inspire you to do real estate? Or was it just the working with your brother that inspired you to do something different?
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it was a factor of all of those things. But like you did mention, growing up, it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me in the real estate field. And I knew that it was a very successful field. And not only did I just want to do it for the money, but I knew it was able to actually help more people that looked like me get into those homes too as well. So I was always around a lot of people who had just had different careers, but I did want to start being on the other side and helping out more people, just getting back into actually understanding and educating themselves on how buying a house was. And I wanted to educate myself too as well, because my goal is I want to buy a house too, and not just do that. I want to actually open buy housing for people. So really that, and then just being younger, I didn't really necessarily have like stability as much after my mom passed. So my main thing was after she passed, I really wanted to have something stable for myself. And I knew if I was in real estate, teaching other people how to find stability and putting them in their place, I would kind of hone into doing it more for myself and for my family too as well.
Okay. So can you share a memorable experience from your early days as a real estate agent?
Oh yeah. So actually, like I think it was like my first day after I got my license. I'm super excited. I'm expecting things to just be like peaches and gravy, like they show on TV. And I actually was with a person that was mentoring me at the time, and we went to this property and we were going to look at it and kind of just evaluate it and everything. And I started working with investment properties when I first got into real estate. So it was completely different than what I expected. We went to a raggedy house and it showed me like different aspects of it. I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just showing nice granite countertops and soft closing cabinets and stuff like that. And it was completely different. And then that's kind of when I started taking a lot more interest into it. But it was definitely an eye shocker, because when people hear real estate, they typically just think about the nice part of real estate, but they don't know the work that kind of goes behind somebody buying a property distressed and fixing it back up, and someone trying to buy a property and rent it out, and different aspects and stuff like that too as well. So it definitely like was a slap in the face at first, because I thought I was just going to get in and start selling like nice houses, making thousands and thousands of dollars, which is what everybody wants. But you always got to kind of start from the ground up and just be as teachable as possible, honestly. So.
Oh wow. What do you find most rewarding about helping clients find their dream homes?
Honestly, it's really just the feeling for someone to be able to have something in their name. Like I know with the economy that we're shifting into, having your name on land or any property is just going to give you so much more value and help you out like status wise, but not even just that. It's just very comforting to know that people have worked their whole life, or if not their whole life, they've saved up money to get into something, and they're trusting you with it and trusting you with the process. And then actually, once they're in the house, just to know that you actually contribute to making someone feel at comfort and helping them find something that they are safe with, they feel comfortable raising a family and stuff like that. So I'm a big family guy. I really just love actually like helping people out, really and truly, just because I mean, when you come from a big family, I'm constantly always helping people out. But it's just very nice. It's like a heartwarming feeling to just put someone in a home, especially give them somewhere to lay their head at night, and especially with us working so hard in today's society. A lot of people work up for that, and that's like their dream. So people with their dreams to an extent.
So, do your brothers still pick on you?
Oh no, they call me all the time asking me real estate questions now. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. But yeah, they actually always try to ask me to do like little bits and stuff here and there, like coming to help them out. I'm like, just like, no, sir. I'm on the other end. I'm doing the contracts and stuff now. Yeah.
That's what's up. So, how do you stay updated with the latest trends and developments in the real estate market?
Sorry, you hit kind of buffered a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Okay, how do you stay updated with the latest trends and developments in the real estate market?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, so with me graduating with a marketing degree, I am very tech savvy. And I mean, kind of still being in my mid-20s, I'm always staying in tune with the new AI things because honestly, that's a lot to keep up with. They're advancing every day, but staying in touch with like TikTok, staying in Facebook group chats with realtors, getting on LinkedIn groups and just networking with people on that. Like, I'm always constantly trying to learn, but not even just that. I'm always going back and reading books from people who had success early on into real estate, like in the years before we had technology, seeing what methods they have and kind of seeing how I can apply that to everyday life now and kind of correlate that so that way I can tend to people who are maybe baby boomers or the early generations, or as well as tending to people that's kind of Gen Z and Gen X that's kind of more tech savvy and stuff like that too as well. But I will definitely say TikTok's probably one of the main things, just seeing everybody do content, putting the videos together, drawing in people and their attention from that. I know that's like a major aspect that I use for it.
So, what strategies do you use to market properties effectively?
I'm a big Instagram guy. So, I mean, obviously we typically like have it on the MLS, but I do like to do like Instagram, and I like to host like open houses. I go to a lot of networking events in the city as well as on the outskirts too. So every time I'm going to a networking event, I'm always meeting new agents, letting them know like, hey, I'm hosting an open house, even if they don't have clients at the time. It's still good to kind of get those people out there to kind of just add that volume and get as many eyes on the property as possible, just because exposure is everything. And then not even just that, but also once again, kind of making a lot of reels for TikTok so that way you can get the traffic and get more eyes on that. Just finding so many different routes for drawing attention to it, because I mean, the more eyes on it, the more opportunities you'll have and more people that could be interested. And it's also basically like a law of average that is kind of how I go off of things usually. I mean, if you have 1,000 people looking at it, out of those 1,000 people, you're going to have at least 2 to 3 maybe have some type of interest in it, as opposed to if you're just putting the listing on the MLS, you're only going to have access to the agents, and they're not necessarily looking at every single property because they're so busy doing other things throughout the day. So yeah, just kind of making videos, adding whatever's popular music into that video so that way it can kind of get more clickbait too as well, and just drawing attention like that, as well as with the networking.
So, I have a two-part question here for you.
Yeah.
One, do you feel like at this point you are a successful real estate agent? And what are your long-range plans in this industry?
Okay, so yeah, right now, I mean, I feel like everybody has different levels to their success and their extent, but for me personally, I feel like I have the potential to be very successful. I necessarily still like to say I'm still in my early learning stages. I have some consistency right now, but I want to get to the point where it's consistent over time, and I don't have to necessarily worry about something going bad or something happening. So I'll say that I'm on the path to be successful. I'm still building up knowledge and building up my team each and every day. But as far as long-term goals, I think I'm on the right track, because in the next couple of years, I do plan on kind of building a team and teaching more and more people about real estate and having them kind of work with me, and we kind of take over Atlanta. Anytime I meet another agent, I tell them like, hey, I'm going to take over Atlanta. So my end goal is really to literally sell a property in every zip code in Atlanta, and not even just that, but I do want to expand and go to other states like the California, Texas, the Carolinas. Just I really want to be an international like realtor. So right now, I would say I have the potential to be successful as long as I just stay teachable and stay steadfast in the studies. But I'm definitely going to be successful. So
I want you to know that I'm very, very proud of you, and I love that answer because, you know, when I see young men such as yourself that's on a career path that's so profitable, that's so all about, you know, just being free and having the abilities to just go out and do what you have to do in your creativity in order for this to happen. I am like really, really proud of you, and I want to make sure that not only do we keep you in mind here as we grow here at America in Black and White, but the inspiration, I'm sure, for the people out in the audience, there's got to be some young people that's inspired to hear this story that you're talking about at this point. Can you hear me?
okay. Yeah, I can now. It was buffering again. I don't know. Is this okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Now.
So, how do you handle challenging clients or difficult transactions?
I will say, so my first couple of months, I was, like I said, I was doing predominantly like investors. So a lot of the investors I was working with, they were like buying like wholesale deals and stuff like that. So it was a very quick, high paced closing, 2 weeks closing, very stressful, high tense situations. But I really will say that when it comes to just dealing with transactions and honestly just dealing with selling houses in general, I always try to take away from being the salesperson and actually trying to put myself into their shoes. Because if you're being relatable with the people, you're actually able to relay information a lot easier as opposed to them feeling like you're just trying to push them into transaction. And I always tell people, I'm in real estate for the checks, not one check. So I'm never going to try to rush you into a deal. I want it to make sense. I want it to have clarity. I want it to be something that you see yourself happy with. So I will say I've dealt with a lot of high stressful closing situations, but I've always overcome them just by making sure that I'm understanding what the client needs and what they want. Because I mean, necessarily, I always feel like they're the they not necessarily they are the people with the power in this transaction. I'm just representing them, and I want to represent them to the best of my ability. So I'm always trying to find out what they need, and if I can't provide them exactly what they need, I'm going above and beyond as much as possible and letting them see that I'm trying to do everything to help them out in their favor. And then sometimes if things still just go bad, I mean, necessarily, they won't necessarily put all the blame on me because they see the efforts that I put in. And we can kind of actually learn stuff together too, as well. Because I mean, when I did start, I didn't know everything about writing up contracts and how some of the things formulate and stuff like that. And I'm working with some people who've had experience in the past and things have changed. So we're kind of learning together. And I think just having that vulnerability with the people that you're working with, it goes a lot further because they feel way more comfortable with you in a transaction as opposed to someone that's always constantly telling them what to do, as opposed to informing them.
Okay, so
So
so like you know, when it comes to your CEs, and I think what is it, 25 CEs for the first year, 20 for the second year? How often do you stay up abreast of your CEs?
I will say so it's my first year now. I still have to get a lot of my hours out of the way, but I have gotten like 6 hours out of the way so far. Thankfully, kind of with my brokerage, they assist us with that a lot. Is at the office or at one of our offices in the city or surrounding cities at least once a week. We have a lot of Zoom opportunities for the continued educations as well. And I typically like to go ahead and schedule mine and throw it on my calendar. So that way I can't make anything else around it. So if I have time allocated for those 3 hours for that, I can go ahead and knock it out the way. But I will say, I honestly prefer to do like continuing education in class just because you can meet more people, meet more agents, and you just always networking too as well. So I'm a big networker guy. I go to a lot of like a networking event at least twice a week. I find two on the little socially apps or the other networking apps that we have nearby and just always pop into one of them. Even if it's only for like 30 or 40 minutes, I'm always trying to at least incorporate that into my week because you can never know too many people in this industry. But continuing education, I mean, it's something I gotta stay on myself about because I mean, I'm educating myself with other stuff, but if I'm not doing the requirements that I'm needed, it's kind of gonna, I don't want to be stuck at the last minute doing all 25 hours on 2 weeks before the closing. I mean, 2 weeks before the due date. So I try to at least do at least 6 hours every 6 months. I know that's kind of bad, but it's gonna get better over time.
Yeah, so, can you describe a particularly challenging property sale and how you overcame the obstacles?
Oh my God. One property that I had went through probate. So that was a whole 3-month process. And actually this is when I was doing like the wholesale thing. And so the property went under contract, went to probate, and then we actually postponed the closing for 3 months. And the buyer really didn't want to wait, but he actually ended up doing it. I mean, he ended up waiting up until a week before everything got cleared, and then we fell out of contract with that. And then we got back in the property. We had to get another extension just due to it was just a lot of things that was court ordered and stuff like that. So they had to go to the courthouse every Wednesday for like 3 weeks straight just to get that cleared. And then after that, we had to wait for the title to be recorded. So it was another week of that. So it was like 5 amendments that we sent out with that deal. It was very stressful because the buyer felt like he was just being backed into a deal. But I mean, well, just like I said, it's always about just managing those relationships with people and being able to just have those tough conversations without it feeling like actually talking to people as a normal person. Their emotions are they're a lot more relaxed and reserved as opposed to just always telling them. And that was honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know how that got closed. I just thank God, but that was definitely a huge relationship builder. And me and my clients and everyone else I was working with the deal, we got very close over those course of those 3 months.
So, are you doing your own paperwork now, or do you have someone assist you to do it?
So I'm still doing majority of it. We at my brokerage, we have like we have a transaction coordinator. We can just kind of drop off certain things. So after we get like a binding contract back, I can just send it over to her and they kind of handle everything from that. But as of right now, I'm still handling all mine. But I do that only due to the fact that I still want to learn as much as possible with it. So once I learned that through and thin, I actually got my nieces right now. They're 18 and 19. They have they have all my old notes and stuff. So they're getting their license soon and they'll be assisting me soon. So.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. See, that's great. So you're bringing other folk into the fold.
Oh yeah, so serious. Yeah, when I said it was going to be a family affair, it is for sure. Like my brother, I'm working with some of my investors and they need like little simple things done. I'll just call my brother and be like, hey, I need you to come do this work for her. And kind of build the reports with everything. Because I mean, it's just always about adding value to yourself as an agent and helping out your clients as much as possible. So
yes, sir. What advice would you give to someone looking to buy their first home?
Okay, yes. Advice for someone looking to buy their first home, I would honestly say to just read, do a lot of research. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of people get the money and then they're just super excited about buying a house and then they just get with I won't say any and every realtor, but they'll just get with a realtor who's just trying to make a sale, as opposed to them educating themselves and knowing about how some types of homes will have subflooring, and that can be a major cost if you buy a house and you don't address that early on and stuff like that. And not even just that, I would just tell people to educate themselves about their credit because it's not really like everything, but is a major factor and can kind of help determine about how much money you're going to have to bring to closing. Because I've been learning along the way, like credit is kind of everything when it comes to buying a house. And not even just that is, I always would tell them to just look at locations and kind of narrow it down to 3 before they even start. Because a lot of people, once they get a pre-approval, they're ready to send you properties in every zip code. So I just tell them like, hey, now that we have something on paper, like let's narrow it down to 3 zip codes. I send them over thousands of pamphlets, even little external things that I read on the side about buying a house to just read on their free time and let them know like, hey, I also tell people like we're not gonna go on the first. I won't let people kind of make a decision on a property if it's our first week of me showing them a house. Like I kind of like them to get the feel of it, to get educated, and I go ahead and kind of preempt them and let them know like, hey, I'm going to want this to be an educational transaction too as well. Like I want you to learn as much as possible to the point where you feel like you don't even need me if you ever wanted to buy another one. You still want to use me because you feel like I helped you a lot, but you feel like you bought a house to buy a house. You feel like you bought the house because it makes sense. It has value. It's going to go, I mean, it's going to last and be sustainable for at least the next 10 to 20 years. You're going to actually not be in mortgage debt because you got a mortgage rate that was way higher than what you could afford. Just stuff like that. So I always just try to make sure I'm educating everyone as much as possible.
Well, you know, that's a great way to not just market but to sell the services that you have, because I think if everybody had an agent, you know, that would take the time out to ensure that they understand exactly what they're getting into, that will make house purchasing, shall I say, so much easier and so much better. So, as you establish these relationships, though, with your clients, are you starting to get some of the same clients coming back to you now to purchase more homes?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have 3 clients who are buying at least like they want 10 by the end of this year. So
Oh,
they
wow.
they're like rental buyers. They're buying a lot of properties and trying to rent them out. And then I actually have one client, she's literally referred me to everybody in the world. And it's a really good relationship because we actually learned together. Like she used to do real estate 10 years ago. She had a child, kind of did the mom thing and was just living her life. And now she's wanting to get back into it. And she was working with an agent before, but the agent actually was just too busy at the moment and kind of had the agent where they didn't want to do the project she was looking at. So she actually reached out to me randomly, hit me up out the blue and was like, hey, my agent is too busy. I mean, I need a new agent. Do you have any time? I've been seeing you at a lot of at a lot of the networking events. And before I even told her, yeah, I was like, hey, like, let's just meet, talk, and just kind of see exactly what you want. Like, I always let people know, like, yes, I'm an agent, and yes, this is how I make a living, but I also want to get to know you because I don't want to just be someone you call on just for you to sell a house. Like I try to be friends with everybody that I'm working with, and not just try to be. Like, I actually be genuine. I might necessarily, with that client, we went and got coffee the first day and kind of, we didn't even talk about real estate. We just talked about just life and kind of our goals and stuff. I got to know a little bit about them. And then after that, we were building a relationship over time. I'd say, hey, I know you have a 1 hour lunch. We're not going to take this super seriously. I just want to go take a look at this house over here in this area. And she kind of really appreciated that because her schedule is very hectic. And I always try to just tend to people. Like, I want to know people so that way I'm not trying to always make them attentive to what I have going on. Like, I just try to be as flexible as possible so that way it correlates with everybody. But I mean, yeah, I'm a very personable person. And I think I have like a big heart and I like to be as close as possible with people just because we live in a world full of hate now. I just feel like we just need to spread love. So I'm a big relationship.
So tell us, how do you balance your time between managing multiple properties and clients?
Honestly, Google Calendar. My calendar stays booked. I like every night at like 10 o'clock. I'm looking at my calendar for the next day and I stay steadfast to that schedule. Obviously, when you're dealing with real estate, you might get to a property and clients stuck in traffic, it might run a little late, but I always try to at least allow 1 hour in between everything that I have to do. So that way I give myself enough time due to traffic or actually making sure that I can manage everything. But I will say Google Calendar is a huge thing. I have sticky notes in like every compartment of my life. I have some in my car. I might make a sticky note if somebody calls me while I'm out in the car driving, and I put the sticky note on the dash. When I get out, I'll come home and immediately put it into my computer. So I'm a big Google Calendar guy. I got to see it so that way I could actually stay by a schedule, as opposed to if I say, "Oh, I'm going to do it on in my head," then I might never get around to it because I have ADD really bad. So if I don't have something like structurally telling me, it wouldn't work. But yeah, Google Calendar is my best friend. I have a whole bunch of post-its. I have a whole bunch of like whiteboards, and my phone also. I have like thousands of reminders in there always.
You know, you sound like my grandson.
You have to. We got
He
to.
is the note king.
Oh yeah, and I'm a big shared notes with somebody. So like if I have a client and if they have an iPhone, you can start a new note and just share it immediately, and y'all can collaborate like that. So I honestly keep up a lot of maintaining my properties like with that. Like because I have one client, we have 2 properties that they're doing right now, and anytime that they're making updates, like every night at 12 o'clock, they know I'm gonna go in there and look and see what updates they have because they go ahead and schedule stuff throughout the week. And if at 12 o'clock, I put a check mark at the end of the notes that lets her know that I've noticed it, added it onto my calendar, and she can continue going on. Also, notes also lets you know the last time that somebody edits stuff. So that kind of is a good way for me to communicate with a lot of my clients, especially when I'm having multiple ones at the same time. They all know, just go in the notes, Jamal will see it. He might not acknowledge it until like an hour or two, but he's got it noted down there, especially if you see the green check.
So tell us, what qualities do you believe are essential for success in the real estate industry?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, one major quality that I feel like is going to be the source of your success is just, like I said, always being teachable. This is an industry that's constantly changing over time. You can never know too much. You can never stop learning. You can never not know enough people. Excuse me. Another thing that I would say is honestly, just don't be scared to make mistakes. Like this is a career where everything's not gonna go as planned as always. It's not gonna be like how the book says. Just be able to, if you're gonna make a mistake, I won't say make it the worst, make it the hardest one, but I'm just saying if you're gonna don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to ask for help too as well, because these are like very important documents. It's okay if you need help, and they can be complicated because they change very periodically. And then the last thing, like I guess top 3, so being teachable, don't be scared to make mistakes. And I would honestly just say the last thing is really just go up, like differentiate yourself from others. Like find ways that you can add value as an agent, because there's thousands of agents out here. How are you going to make yourself different and make someone want to work with you? So I guess that kind of ties into add value and like building relationships, because people buy properties. I mean, if someone has the qualifications to buy a house, they can go out here and get any realtor. So if you add those personal relationships and you're adding value, you kind of give yourself a one up as opposed to just being the next average realtor too as well. So I guess those 3 things are kind of like my major things for success in real estate.
Okay. Well, let's transition from your real estate career over to your community work.
Okay.
And can you tell us what motivated you to get involved in community work?
So actually in college, I'm a Kappa Sig. I was in a fraternity. It was an interfraternal council, and it was like we had to do community work and community service always too as well with that. And not even just that, I'm from Statesboro, but I'm from the country part of Statesboro, where it was just a lot of rural stuff, and it was always people throwing trash out on the road and stuff like that. And kind of once I got older, I started appreciating just the earth more. I know that's kind of bad to say, but I mean, this is what we're living on and we're killing it every day. So not even just doing that, like I actually always like to help out the homeless people. Ever since I moved to Atlanta, you see how many people are without shelter, without food, without family. And it's just very sad to kind of see because that could kind of be anybody in any moment. So I always like to do as much as possible with that. Like anytime when I was bartending all those years, every time I'd leave a shift, I always made it my duty, especially because I made cash every day. I would give $5 to the first homeless person I saw every night, no matter what. I mean, and then another thing is I used to always try to donate stuff to like the homeless shelter that was right down the road from my house, just because I mean I don't have the world to give, but I can give back when I can. And I just felt like I don't know. I just feel like we don't have, like I said earlier, we don't have enough love in the world anymore. So I take tie in my community work with me just kind of being a good person. Like I'll go out and help people that's picking up trash, or I'll go take some food to someone who's in need. And also, really, especially around the holidays, I get very big into community work just because family is kind of everything. And when I was in college, I was going through a dark period with me losing my mom. I didn't necessarily go home to be with my own family. So now during the holidays, I spend some time with family, but I also make sure that I'm spending time with people who are not as fortunate. Like I love to go to nursing homes and sit with people. My mom actually worked in nursing homes like all my life. So I'm so used to sitting with people that were kind of disabled and had problems and stuff like that. So I still do like to go back and give now too as well. And plus, like I just like doing word searches, so I'll go to the nursing home and do a word search with someone like all day long, honestly.
So, can you tell us about a specific community project you are particularly proud of?
Uh, let's see. Okay, well, so there was this one, I would say there was this one time where me and all my fraternity brothers, we actually were selling like it was in college my junior year, and I was the vice president at the time, so I helped orchestrate it actually. And we actually sold like chicken dinners and barbecue dinners to like everybody all across the Americas where I was going to college at, and we raised like think like maybe $2,000 or $3,000, and we gave all that money back to this woman who was battling breast cancer at the time, and it was very heartfelt to me because my mom actually passed away from breast cancer, and it was really nice. Like we were on the news. It went in the paper. It was like a very like self comforting and self I guess yeah, it was a good self service thing to do that day because I mean the woman was a very sweet person and she just had a lot going on. She's a very soft spoken. She helped out as much as possible, and for us to be able to actually go back and help her out in her time of need, it just really touched my heart too as well.
Oh wow! So, can you tell us, just a follow up question, like when you guys were putting that project together, what were some of the things you were thinking about doing in creating this project and executing it?
Oh well, yeah. So we didn't just give out like I mean okay, yeah. So when we were orchestrating everything, a lot of the ideas that I kind of was bringing up was just really doing like some typical community things, like a car wash to help raise money. I started thinking about doing like a photo booth. I was really thinking about everything, like a dunk tank. We had it because I played baseball a lot too as well. So we had a dunk tank at our fraternity house where we were gonna let people come and dunk one of the brothers, pay $5, and all the money that we were gonna just donate with that. So there's really like a lot of carnival type things that were community oriented. And then in my hometown, we always had this thing called the Turpentine Festival where everybody would set up booths and raise money like that too as well. So I kind of just used a lot of those ideas and just brought it back because I feel like that's kind of a major thing that helps out with people coming together as a community.
So, tell us, how do you identify the needs of the community and address them through your initiatives?
Okay. So as far as like the needs for the community, I mean, I'm always kind of watching news and watching the most updates on like Facebook and Twitter and everything, and just even on Google too as well. But honestly, the way that I address things is really kind of I always try to find solutions for it, like especially with everything that's going on. Like as far as, for example, like all the gang violence and the deaths that's going on right now. I'm constantly dealing with that, and a way that I address it, I don't necessarily go to making like posts about it. I'll actually try to do things in the community. Like I'll try to set up, well, I'll try to orchestrate something where people who are more my age can go and do like a mentoring program and kind of take people out of that community and teach them other things, teach them different ways and outlets and stuff like that. But as far as I mean, other things in the communities, I guess you could say like politics and stuff. I mean, I just addressing that is very hard because everybody is very much entitled to their own opinion. But as far as typical, like just educating people, I'm always open to being susceptible to learning more from others too as well. But the initiative that I take with politics, I just honestly kind of lack it. I don't voice as much as I should, especially because I just feel like I'm not as educated on that as enough. But other like life things, I try to attack them with resolutions, ways that we can actually come together and do better things, as opposed to trying to just do what everybody else doing necessarily, if that makes sense.
Oh, but you just said something that just sparked a follow-up question. Is politics something that's in your future that you've thought about running for political office?
No, sir. No, sir. I have some family members who are in politics, and I understand it, but yeah, I don't want no parts. I'm so sorry. Educate myself, but I am good. I'll just sell some houses.
Ooh, that's a real show.
It is, and it's always like I always feel like with politics, everybody is always right. Like, and that's not saying it in a bad way, but everybody has some truth to their beliefs, and politicking is all just about making sure that everybody can put things into other people's point of view and their perspective. And I feel like now with society, we've kind of steered away from that, and everybody thinks that politics has to be either you believe this or you believe that. You can't come to an actual agreement or an actual understanding. So that's why I like to stay clear of politics, because yeah, I like to live a stress-free life. I don't want no drama. No drama, please.
I hear you. What role do you believe real estate professionals can play in community development?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like we as real estate agents, like we kind of are the base for a lot of things. Like we can a lot of these areas that need to be gentrified or that need extra support and help. I think that if we had like the right amount of realtors kind of going to those communities and educating the people that are already there on ways that they can kind of build up and fix those places up while they're living there, or finding out ways where they can buy in those areas too as well and just fix them up too as well. I think if real estate agents were more educating, we would have a different outlook towards gentrification, because a lot of people see gentrification and they're like, oh, they're just buying it and making it unaffordable for other people to live in. But at the end of the day, we need these things to be upgraded and changed over time. So they're going to have to be gentrified, either whether it's by you or whether it's by someone else. So I always just tell people, like, especially other agents, I'm telling people is if you can teach somebody, you can turn someone into a client long term, like, and not looking at it as a transaction, but you can always educate somebody and then they're going to value you. And then when they do get their credentials to that point, then they're going to get to a point where they're going to think about using you for it.
So can you tell us, how do you engage with local organizations and stakeholders to support community projects?
So I'm a part of the National Association of Realtors and a couple of other little groups too as well. But I mean, I just always make sure that I'm showing up to places where the voices in your vote matters too as well. So anytime that I can go to like a council meeting or stuff like that, like I'm always just there and kind of asking questions about real life things that's going on, like how are they addressing certain things in the economy, or how are they addressing certain changes into just society and stuff like that. But I guess I would say that's kind of really the only way that I do it necessarily right now.
Have you been to the national conference yet?
I have not. I have not. It's actually.
Go ahead.
I was like, it's one of my goals this year. I'm doing my vision board right now, so I kind of got like a lot of different things that I'm trying to achieve this year, and a lot of different organizations I want to get on and into, just so that way, like you said, I can start doing more community things with more of people that are like-minded and that I have support, like as a group, because I do feel like we can't conquer the world alone, and those groups are already making those initiatives, but they're actually they're making an impact too as well, to the point where we just need to have more people who are able to join those types of groups as well. So yeah, that's actually my goal. And I mean, I like a lot of different groups, like the Emerging 100, the Emerging 100. There's like this Black leadership group that's in Atlanta too as well, that sends me stuff. There's this group called Goodfellows. I just always stay tuned into a lot of business oriented organizations and try to network as much as possible and get into them, just even if they're not beneficial to actually what my career is. It's just good beneficial knowledge and good networking.
So can you share an example of a successful collaboration with a community organization?
No, I haven't had one yet necessarily, actually. With like, you mean like in like life or like in real estate?
Well, just in general, in the work that you do in the community, have you collaborated with any community organizations as to some work on projects or things that needed to get done?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I mean, something I'm gonna look into, but yeah, I haven't actually collaborated with any groups just yet.
Okay. What impact do you hope to achieve through your community work?
I really actually just want to kind of put my face out there and be a resource for people to actually come to for help, not just for real estate needs, but like for just life. Like I really do want to make a change and make an impact, teach people how to, I mean, as far as people that are getting out of jail, I want to help them be able to transition back into society. People that are homeless, I want to help them be able to get back on their feet. Like I do want to actually make a change and just be a voice and be an actual figure that's not just saying that they want to do these things, but actually putting forth the effort towards making it happen in Atlanta at least. Like I feel like starting there, and then I kind of want to expand and do as much as possible, but it got to start around you first. And there's a lot of people that need help in this city.
So when you think about Atlanta and you think about the real estate projects, you think about the community work itself in general. Do you sometimes think about, like earlier when I was talking about impact, do you think sometimes that, for the work that you're doing in the industry that's really doing stuff in the community in general anyway, do you think of ways that you can make those work together and be a whole lot better to help a lot more people?
I mean, I actually hadn't thought about that, and you put into perspective like that changes it, but no, I haven't thought about that just yet, actually.
So, how do you inspire others to get involved in community service?
I just always tell people to honestly do their part. I mean, I don't feel like community service is something that you should force people to do. It should be something that someone wants to do just because they they want better for their community. So I mean, honestly, it once again just ties into like just educating them. Like a lot of people don't really understand that we're killing the planet. The reason why a lot of the things are so bad is just because we kind of steered away from just doing stuff as a community, doing stuff to help benefit and give back. I mean, yeah, I really just kind of question. I don't question, but I hold people accountable to their morals and their ethicals. Like I just let them know, like, hey, you could do this and you could do that, but at the end of the day, it's really that's only if you want to. You can't force anybody to do anything that they're not wanting to do at the moment. But I am an advocate for always telling people like, hey, don't do that. Or there's things that you shouldn't do that are just like completely bad. I don't like people littering around me. Like I can't do that. I always try to help out homeless people if I can. I mean, even when I see certain projects coming together, if I have the time to donate to them, I always try to donate time, even if I don't know what's going on. Like I'm one of those people, I will walk up to something not knowing what's going on, but just be willing to and wanting to help because I'm a curious person too as well. So
What does what challenges have you faced in your community work, and how have you overcame them?
okay, yeah, there was actually one time I had to do like a lot of community work for my fraternity, especially being like just the vice president. But there was one time I did like this ride along with some cops, and I was like, we actually were. He was just doing a normal, like just doing normal stuff, and we got to this area that I knew that was near my college, and it was like a whole bunch of kids that were like 12, 14, and 15 actually, and it was very like rough to be out there seeing them kind of they were doing like a lot of gang related things and the cop was kind of letting them know like hey this that and the third but obviously like in the environment that they were in at the time they weren't necessarily trying to hear that but I did take an initiative and I was my fraternity I mean my house was actually like 5 minutes from where they were so I used to make it my duty kind of for the last for a few weeks and few months that I was in my college town, I used to go and hang out with them at least once a week and like just go throw the baseball. And they used to make jokes at me because they were always like, "That's not the sport that we play. We play basketball." But I feel like honestly, just doing stuff like that kind of does go a long way and it makes an impact and kind of you can help somebody else out because the times where we were out doing those things with baseball, they weren't doing the bad things in the street. They weren't making bad decisions, getting put into the system and stuff like that. So I do feel good about that, but yeah, it was very rough because I have nieces and nephews that are that age, and I always would want somebody to kind of, if they see them doing bad, I would want them to do the same thing and kind of shift them into something that's more positive and down the right path.
So, how do you measure the success of your community initiatives?
Honestly, I will say I don't measure them. I'm not gonna lie. I feel the satisfaction of just knowing that I'm doing my part. I mean, obviously, I do want to make a bigger impact, but I feel like everything that I can do to help towards the community is a win to me. Because I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that are my age that are not necessarily they don't care as much right now, and that's just because they're not as aware of what's going on and how bad it is and how much we need community like work and we need community unity and stuff like that. But I guess you could say like I gauge my success on did I help at least one person? And I feel like if I at least help one person, that's kind of a win to me because I'm only one person. I can't help a whole world all at once. I mean, that's the goal, but just taking it day by day.
Well, let's play a word association game.
Okay.
I am going to ask you, I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay. Oh gosh.
You ready?
Mm.
Quality,
Quantity.
sale,
Pitch.
people,
Animals.
learn,
Teach.
property,
Location.
money,
Me. I'm so sorry. That you said the first thing that comes to mind. So.
license,
Real estate.
car,
Driving. Yeah.
home,
Family.
meeting.
Schedules.
Now, of all those words, which one is the most important to you or the one you feel like you're most comfortable with?
Money.
Tell us why.
I am money motivated. I am very money motivated. Like everything that I do in life, it's not for the gratification in the moment, but it's for the long run. Like I honestly had like a rough childhood and rough upbringing, and I am never going back to that type of lifestyle. So everything that I'm trying to is definitely money motivated. Like if I know that it's going to benefit me 10 years down the line, I'm going to do it. If I know that it can benefit me 2 or 3 years down the line, I'm going to do it. If something that's going to benefit me right then and there, that's not necessarily something that's going to be like a money motivator for me, because I've been in real estate. I've been bartending, so I'm used to getting kind of like instant gratification. But when I think about money, I think about wealth and like long term, being able to leave something for my kids and my family that's coming. So money, that's the most important to me.
So I think the big word that should be hung in the lights above you is motivated.
Yeah.
So you're motivated to make it happen, and you're gonna do the things necessary in order for you to succeed. Because there's an end goal of always just being capable, ready, and having the ability to do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow. I like that too. I mean, it's always good to, when we have a guest, like yourself, especially one that's inspiring, the young people that are actually watching the show. It's like I can guarantee you that if I interviewed 10 young people that watch this show, I can guarantee you all of those words and the thing that we just spoke of putting motivated above your head, that those will be the highlights that they will always be able to say he was motivated.
Yeah, probably, because yeah, I'm
So we're going to transition here into this third part of the interview, and we're going to talk about you and your coaching that you do.
okay.
Tell us what led you to become a coach, and what sports or activities do you coach?
So I mean, honestly, I played baseball like all my life, and I mean, I coach from like two different aspects right now. So I coach with like helping other people who are trying to get their real estate license right now. Like I'm not no mentor, no teacher or anything, but I do coach people and hold people accountable to what they say with that. So I guess you could say kind of say like I got this like real estate seminar of like people who are trying to get their license, because I took my real estate test 6 times. Like it took me a lot to get it. It was a lot. It's very tedious, it's very stressful, and it's hard. So I coach people with that. And then I'm also well, I've coached baseball throughout the years, like helped out with assisting like coaches and stuff. But now I'll actually be starting to coach this little league team in Marietta in the next, well, the season starts in February. I start coaching in February, but I've been kind of going ahead and reaching out to some of the parents and just talking to them, kind of introducing myself. But baseball, I'm in that aspect, like I'm coaching that just because kind of growing up when I was on my baseball team for high school and for travel, I was always kind of that person that's going to take the lead even when I was the younger one, because I'm always listening and always trying to learn, and I'm willing to spread information too as well. So in high school, my ninth grade year, my coach actually gave one senior three freshmen, and he kind of put them on like this little trial to see who could be the most improved by the end of the season. And the person that was training us, I was the most improved. So then the next year, my coach kind of did the same thing, and I was already on varsity my ninth and 10th grade year, but the coach kind of just kept that going. And by my senior year, I was the captain, kind of really coaching everybody, kind of making sure that everybody else was getting up to the potential that I knew that they were capable of. And then also just understanding that everybody has different teaching techniques and stuff like that. So that is one thing that kind of made me draw into coaching, because I love baseball. Like, I mean, I missed it. It was something that I didn't want to not give up, but I knew I didn't want to go pro with it. Like that was not my goal. Like I wasn't trying to be no MLB player. But as far as now, like the reason that I've kind of been getting back into it and I'm about to start coaching the little league is because I still feel like I'll get the aspect of still playing baseball, and I'm also passing down knowledge and information that I learned to new people too as well. Especially with these little kids, it's going to be a major impact on them, because I really started playing baseball my 7th grade year when I was a little kid too as well. And if it wasn't for me and my first coach, I wouldn't have kept going over the years. So I feel like it's going to